Good evening and welcome to the Carter County Commission meeting on Tuesday, January the 21st at 6 p.m. And at this time I officially call the meeting to order. And I'd ask Director Smith if he would come up, please, and share a egress plan.
Good evening. In the unlikely event that we need to evacuate the building, our primary evacuation route is the southern entrance, which is the monument side of the building, and the assembly point's the parking lot to the east of the building. Our secondary evacuation route is the stairwell across from the elevators on the north side of the building, and again, our assembly point is the parking lot in the back of the building. Just a note of comfort, the restrooms are located on the first and second floor. The second floor restrooms are handicap accessible. And in the unlikely event that we need it, there is an AED located downstairs next to the elevator. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Before we have the roll call, I want everyone to know that I received a call around 2:30 this afternoon from Commissioner Garland, and he had another meeting tonight, which is going to last about an hour, is what he told me. But he plans to be here as quickly as possible, so let the record reflect that, Madam Clerk. Go ahead and call the roll. We do have a quorum present. The next agenda item, let me back up. There are agendas up on this bench over here. If anyone would like to have an agenda to kind of follow through with us, you're welcome to come and get me one. I should have said that on the front end. But they're right across on the bench if you'd like to have one. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented. Motion by Commissioner Jenkins, second by Commissioner Frazier. Any additions, deletions, anything pertaining to the agenda? If not, Madam Clerk, please call the roll. Motion passed. The agenda is set. At this time, we will stand for prayer. And please remain standing. And Commissioner Aaron Frazier will lead us in the pledge of allegiance.
Dear Heavenly Father, God, Lord, to bow our heads and approach your throne of grace, God, thank you for this day, Lord, that you bestowed upon each one of us. Lord, you give us another chance to put our feet to the floor and take another breath. Lord, most of all, we want to thank you for your Son, Jesus Christ, who went to a cross and died for each and every one of us. Lord, we know, Lord, that he did it for each one of us, God. Shed each drop of blood, God. He didn't take a whole bucket, he just took one, Lord, to get rid of our sins. We know tonight, we know the realm of the blood. Lord, tonight we know their names are written in the Lamb's Book of Life. God, we do pray for each one, Lord, that's represented here tonight, Lord. We pray, God, that you have your blessings upon them. God, our young people, Lord, in the high school, Lord, we pray, God, that you lead and direct them, Lord, in ways you have them to go. Appreciate what they've done, Lord. God, tonight we do pray, Lord, for those who are having surgery. Lord, their son is having surgery right now, God. We pray, Lord, that you touch them, Lord, have your anointing upon them. Lord, there's some within our commissioned body, Lord, that's still recovering. Lord, we pray, Lord, that you have your anointing on them. God, we give you the honor and the praise and the glory for everything that's said and done. Lord, we always put you first in our lives. We ask these things in thy name. Amen.
Amen. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. At this time, I'd like to recognize all the elected officials, their guests, and appointed officials as well. Would you please stand? Please stand. Sometimes we forget the services they provide that takes care of us on a day-to-day basis in this county, so we do appreciate it. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes for approval. Commissioner James, second by Commissioner Isaiah Grindstaff. Any discussion? Any discussion? If not, please call the roll. Bill to vote. Motion passed. Thank you. We're moving along, I guess, pretty quickly. We're down to the notaries and bonds. Madam Clerk, would you read those names, please?
Larry Taylor, Ashley Sexton, Audrey Humphrey, Byron Smith, Kimberly J. Porter, Valerie Carey, Nikki Campbell, Angie Oxendine, Sheila Morton, Ashley Walsh, Diane M. Dudley.
Do I hear a motion to approve? Commissioner James, Commissioner Culler, second. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll. Motion passed. At this time, if you have an agenda and keeping up with me, we're on number 10, which are public comment. Each person will have 5 minutes. There will be no yielding of time to anyone. That was a new policy that we implemented last month. For those of you that weren't here, I thought I needed to say that again. So, at this time, if you would like to come to the podium, please, if you come up, your name and address would be helpful. Do we have anyone who would like to speak? Yes, ma'am. Would you come up, please? You have to come through the gates. Thank you, Dr. Eckhart. Please state your name and maybe the microphone, if it's too high for you. Bring that down so we can hear you. Just pull it.
You can hear me without the microphone.
Okay.
I don't need the microphone.
We can save money in that process. Microphone.
I'm Etta Mays, a lifelong resident of Carter County. I grew up in the old 17th District, now the Happy Valley Voting District. In the mid-70s, I moved to the Central Community, and I'm now in the 3rd District. I worked for the Carter County school system for 41 years. During that time, I worked with some of you, had some of you as either a student or parent of a student, or you were a friend of someone involved with the school system. I know your abilities and reputations. Many of you should be ashamed of the way you get up here and represent our county today. You are not more important than anyone else in this county. You need to be working to uplift anyone you meet in your work environment or meet just as a casual acquaintance. You must work for the county as a whole. I take great pride in living in Carter County and expect everyone else to do the same. It upsets me to hear anyone speak negatively about our county. You, as Carter County Commissioners, elected by your fellow members of your district, need to work together for the benefit of all county departments, not just the ones which benefit you individually, or your family, or close friends. All of you must support our county in any and all ways possible. Commissioners, you have been elected by the residents in your district to represent them as a part of the whole county. Each individual district is like a piece of a puzzle. It is an important part of the whole puzzle, and is not complete if even one piece is missing. Each of you represent one piece of the whole county. You have to work together to accomplish what is important to our county, to grow and achieve great things for all of us, not just the benefit of you as an individual or for your close friends or co-workers. Not all of you are supporting and working for all county departments. You're choosing some workers and or departments to support and seemingly are trying to eliminate certain individuals in one or more departments that for some personal reason you have chosen not to support. Workers in each department of the county government need to be rewarded for the work they do, not whether they're your personal friend or relative. Apparently, some of you are trying to get rid of the chairman of the Planning Commission just because you cannot have control over him. The County Commission's only responsibility over the Planning Commission is to fund their budget properly, just as you fund the Carter County School System's budget. Your position as a Carter County Commissioner is to help them do their work, to do the work the state has tasked them with. You just need to tend to your business and let them tend to theirs. Planning commissioners are created and established by the Tennessee Department of Economic and Community Development. But for some reason, this county commission does not think the Planning Commission has anything to do with economic and community development. Why are the planning office employees some of the lowest paid full-time employees of the county? Why have raises for the employees been repeatedly refused? Yet other county employees, including employees who are county commissioners, have had significant raises over the last few years. This is public information. You can go to the finance department and get the employee salary histories. Now, according to last week's Elizabeth Star, the Law Enforcement Committee and County Commission want to run the Sheriff's Department, and the Highway Committee wants to run the Highway Department. Those two departments have elected officials.
Excuse me, ma'am, your 5 minutes are up.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Do we have anyone else that would like to come and speak for the commission? Anyone else? Come on up, sir. For the record, please state your name and address if you would, Mr. Livingston.
Roy Livingston, now, ladies and gentlemen, we've been trying to watch this money here for a pretty good while. Keep an eye on it. Next month, they start the budget committee. They're going to start making a new budget for this year. Now, they don't kind of make a budget like you do. You don't go to the store with $10 in your pocket and get $100 worth of groceries. That ain't the way this operates. They bring all their wants to this commission, and they don't ask how much it costs or whatever. It's just their wants. They don't never go through it and check to see what their needs are. Don't appear to anyway. But now this is going to start this coming month, and they're going to start out that they're broke. This is the first thing they do to begin with. So we're broke. We've got to have a dollar here, a dollar there, wheel tax, whatever. And this is a poor way to run a business, but it's the county's business and it's people's business. But this is the way they operate. You just keep a close eye on them. You better get ready to dig in your pockets real deep. Because if they don't do this any different than they've done in the past, you're in a whole lot of trouble. Because they don't have financial report here of none of your money. Nobody knows how much they got except some of these here, and they just know portions of it. They should know where every cent in this county is. These taxpayers has put in here out of their pockets should be able to account for every cent of it. But you try to get the accountability for it and see how you have to go. You got to fight and dig and claw and put in orders and everything else to even find out about it. If the taxpayers are funding this thing, there should be a monthly report of what finances they have and what directions. And then you should know what's in the general funds and all these entities and stuff and everything else, because it's your money, it ain't theirs. They try to tell you it's theirs. You send it, we'll spend it. But now you just keep your eyes open, because this next month they're going to start doing this budget. And you're going to hear some of this same stuff. We're broke. We've got to have the amount of money here for this to get through this thing. And you need to know the total of what you got before you know what you got to spend. But that's not the way they operate. They get their wants, everybody brings their wants, nobody questions it. They just, whatever their wants, they try to make the money match it. And that's what's going to happen here. If you, ladies and gentlemen, just keep your eyes open and see if it don't work this way. If it don't, it'll be something different. And it'll be worth a change if they decide to change it. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else like to come up, come up, sir, please? Please state your name and address, sir, that would be helpful for the record.
Yes, sir. My name is Richard Butler. I live at 177 Dry Branch Road, Stony Creek, Carter County, United States of America. I'm loath to follow a couple of serious matters like that. But I've been here, I have to confess, I'm a lax attender at the county commission meeting, but I intend to up my game. My concerns are, as I have voiced to the mayor and to the ordinance enforcement officer, is that I've lived here over 6 years, and I started worrying people about this about 4 years ago, is that if you take a ride up to the start of the Cherokee National Forest on Stony Creek, make a U-turn and come back and note the prevalence of junkyards, junk, garbage, trash, dead animals, you name it, it's there. Now, that's a kind of remote end of Stony Creek, I understand that. As you come down Stony Creek toward Elizabeth, and things get better. They get less of that and less of that and less of that. But I come from a background in law enforcement in Michigan. I served as a chief of police for 30-some years in a community of 22,000 people. We had our problems also, similar to what we have here, but certainly not in the volume. And certainly not in what apparently is the lack of ability to correct some of these problems. I've brought the problems to the mayor before, I've brought the problems to the ordinance enforcement officer, and I see absolutely no progress. Now, with that, I understand how the courts work. Now, I don't have a keen knowledge of how the Tennessee courts work or the county courts work here, but I intend to investigate that. Because the value of my house in the area that I live is highly contingent on the value or disvalue of the area that I live in. A couple of years ago, about 4 years ago, my significant other's son and daughter-in-law came here from Missouri. Now, they live in an upscale district way out in the woods, and we don't relate on those two levels. Our home is rather modest, but it's neat and orderly, 99%. But I've brought this to the attention of the ordinance enforcement officer, and I believe he's working hard to remedy this situation, but apparently the court doesn't work that fast. So I'm here to plead my case that my home value is lowered because of the conditions around it. Now, if you want to take a trip right up Stony Creek, stop off on my street, make a U-turn, turn around, come back, and just count and see. You can see trash, you can see 100 junk automobiles in the yard, at least 100. You can see garbage put out with no garbage pickup, pretty soon you see 20 bags of garbage in somebody's front yard, bagged up, but you know what it is. It's garbage, it's garbage, it's garbage, trash. So anyway, I'm going to end my soliloquy. I hated to follow a couple of hard hitters like following there, but I really have enjoyed, I like this country. I came down here from Michigan 7 years ago. And I came down here because I fell in love with the whole country. It's beautiful out here, except around about where I live. And it shouldn't be that way. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Do we have others who would like to come to the podium to speak? Any others? Seeing none, we move on with the agenda. At this time, the mayor has a proclamation that he would like to present. And, come on up, Mr. Mayor.
If I could, gentlemen, would you join me? Elizabeth and Cyclone state champion football team. Before I get started, I was writing up a little, something I was going to read, but it was about that long, so I had to cut it down to get it in this little frame, so I apologize if I leave any names out or anything. I mean, try not to name names, but I had a big list, but I couldn't get it in this little frame. So anyway, this is a mayoral proclamation. Commissioner Hill, would you join us up here? He supported you guys. I'm sure there's several of them that did, but I seen him all the way down to the state tournament, and I'd like to ask him to join us up here. And he was at the state tournament though. But anyway, I'll read this mayoral proclamation, and again, I had to cut it way down. So anyway, honored Elizabethton High School Cyclone football team and coaching staff on their state championship victory. Whereas Elizabethton High School Cyclones football team completed the 2019 with a perfect record of 15-0, earning the TSSAA Division I 4A state football championship title. And whereas the 2019 Cyclones defeated Springfield by a margin of 30-6 to bring home the school's first state championship since 1938. And whereas Bryson Rollins was the game's MVP with 241 yards of total offense and 2 touchdowns. He also set a new championship game record, completing 11 of 12 passes, attempted for 91.7% pass completion percentage. And whereas throughout the regular season and postseason competition, the Cyclones demonstrated hard work, dedication, professionalism, and sportsmanship. Again, I had everybody's name listed, but when I cut it down, Bryson, where's Bryson at? He's not here? So we'll mark him out anyway. I did have a big list, but anyway, we cut it down. Therefore, being it resolved that I, Russell Barnett, Mayor of Carter County, do hereby proclaim today, January the 21st, 2020, as a day honoring the Elizabethton High School Cyclone football team and coaching staff on their accomplishments and state championship. So congratulations.
Take a picture.
Well, I got you on file here anyway. Get the codes and not to us. speak at that mic.
That's the wrong one. They're not here. Again, I'm the short one of the bunch, again.
Let's smile.
1, 2, 3.
Now, this picture, I didn't look like a deer in headlights, did I? Come here, Coach Pierce, you say a little something.
I just want to say we really appreciate all the support folks have given us the whole year, and it's not just been the folks in the town, it's been from all over the community, and you know, I live up in Star Creek area myself, and I know people talk about it all the time, and we're just really glad that we could, you know, give the community something that you can talk about for a little while. You know, it's just a real good group of guys, very good coaches. They work really hard, and you know, that's just what it's all about. It was just a year of family and togetherness, and everything just kind of came together. And you know, it takes a whole lot of things have to go right for this to happen. It only takes one or two things going wrong, and these guys fought and stuck together and made sure everything went right. And we just really appreciate it. And thanks for Mayor for honoring us here tonight. And you know, we hope we get a chance to come back next year.
That demonstrates that we're doing something right in Carter County and Elizabeth. For sure, Russ. Thank you. We're down to number 12 on our agenda, resolutions, and I'll turn that over to County Attorney Carson.
Okay, the first agenda on your, resolution on your agenda, number 8, or letter 8, is encouraging support of legislation directing King County to reimburse ground ambulance providers at a rate not less than current Medicare fee schedule and adding funding to the 2020-2021 state budget. And essentially, this is just a resolution on behalf of our county. There's several like it across the state, which have been offered to the General Assembly this year to increase funding for things like ground transportation and ambulance services, because currently the reimbursement rates are about half of what it actually costs.
I'll make a motion that we accept.
Commissioner Brown makes a motion, second by Commissioner Frazier. Discussion? Any discussion? Stand none, clerk call the roll. Commissioner Montanan. Commissioner Von Cannon. Motion passed on the resolution. Thank you. Go ahead, County Attorney.
Okay, resolution B is to amend the current county policy regarding approval of change orders for all construction projects involving county property. This originated out of Financial Management Committee. Essentially, you can see set forth in the resolution, it adds, instead of approval by Finance Director and Department Head on change orders, for $5,000 and under changes, it requires the mayor and the chairman of Building and Grounds, and then if over that amount, mayor, chairman of Building and Grounds, and another member of the Building and Grounds Committee. And if there's any questions or anything on the thinking of this, I'll defer to Mr. Johnson for Financial Management if there's any questions on it.
Chairman Johnson, if you want to add to that, sir. Vote.
Yeah, to some extent, son, it needs to be thought through. For one, from the financial management side of it, that's an aspect of the business that we go through in contracting in this county, that there is no I'm gonna say watchdog. There is no double checking, and there's no 3 checks to go through to make sure. I'm not gonna say it would be an illegal, but to watch such things as change orders. At the present time, the law allows that the mayor has the official authority to sign up to $50,000. It's not that we don't that we distrust him. It's not that he's done anything wrong. But in the construction area, there is several ways that this can get away from. Number one, if you went on a construction site, not knowing the importance, having a professional background and knowledge of construction, and immediately went to sign off, there's nobody to check if we've got the money. There is nobody that is there to check to see that the change that was affected was valid as much as was it an error by the AE firm, was it an error by the contractor, was it an error caused by unforeseen site conditions. So this resolution here, what it does is anytime there's a change order, there's 2 levels. One is from 0 to 5,000. That is to be checked and signed by 2. One, the chair of the board of building and grounds, and the other is the mayor. If it's over 5,000 up to, then it is going to be a 3 signature, a 3 check. Anytime there's a change order that's going to be instituted, there has to be legal reasons. That has to be reviewed by our county attorney, and also to be explained both by the architect and the contractor who has the contract, to where we can determine if there was a deliberate cause or an oversight, or they just didn't do their job. Because as an example, as an architect engineering firm, in the AIA contract, they are required by their profession to do certain or perform certain acts of design, engineering, and specification writing. If they did not do, and they forgot a phase of it, and didn't research it, and put it on the paper, and it was completely wrong, then we need to look at them to where they pay for the change order because of not performing as a professional as they said they were going to. And the only way you can do that is when a change order comes up and we have a problem on the site, that it can come in and be under 3 sets of eyes, and then instead of just 1, okay? Is there any questions about it? I mean, that may be.
But we'll have to entertain a motion before we get into
Yes,
discussion.
okay, thank you.
Chairman. So moved. So moved by Dr. Acuff, second by Commissioner Isaac Grindstaff, excuse me. Now, discussion. Mr. Von Camp.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to offer a friendly amendment under section 3.58. The signing of the change order, the mayor, chairman of the building and grounds, and other members of the building and grounds, but I would like to think it would be prudent to add the finance director, because he's the man that knows where the numbers are, and he would be more in tune of understanding the total financial picture than anyone else.
Dr. Acuff, would you accept that friendly?
Yes, sir, I would accept it.
Okay, we do have a friendly amendment that is accepted. Thank you, sir. Other discussions? Mr. Brown.
I'd just like to add, this is a good thing. I think this is just double checking everything and making sure everything's in order like it should be. I think this is good.
Other discussion, comments?
One other, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Chairman.
I want to remind you, one of the other things that we kept in mind with when we were examining this, and the standards that we were setting here is the same way that the state and the federal government operates in oversight of construction contracts, is we just experienced as a county the most negative thing I've ever seen when they built the animal shelter. The watchdog is like, we put the wolf in front of the hen house. And we're worried about whether we're going to have any hens eat. But when we got there, we didn't have no hens. And the fox still standing there with a big grin on his face. Well, right now, we're not finished with paying for that building. It was not constructed as according to the design. It is not constructed according to the specification. There was changes that were made by an official of this county that at the time, like I say, had the right to sign obligations, but to make changes without conferring with the county commission for the extra money, or for the AE firm or the contractor with no experience, no engineering background, only nothing but bragging rights, saying we're going to pay for it, and we still are right now, because it was a mess. So, still, there's a lot of things that there's money-saving items. We go back and make corrections on what was originally designed, you'll find that it'll work perfectly.
Thank you, sir. Other comments? Commissioner Willie Campbell.
I'm going like Ms. Brown, this is a good setup. I seen it for myself when I was first commissioner, elected commissioner, and the jail was under construction most of that time, and there was nobody there. The contractor handled everything, and that's the reason probably we're in some of the bad shape that we're in over there, because we didn't have somebody there to oversee what was going on. And this is a great idea, and it won't slip by us, and we'll know who's responsible.
Thank you, sir. Other comments?
You know, I think the chair of the building and grounds ought to say something, don't you?
Brad, you do enough talking.
That's it. I'll turn it over to your house next time.
No, we're just trying to put some checks and balances in place so we know who's responsible for what, and, we're not going to turn it loose and kind of maybe keep some of these projects under control and keep a little better eye on how the money's being expensed, if there's what surplus is left over, so we kind of know where it's at. The responsibility of the building and grounds chair is when they sign off these change orders and agree to them, is we're to report this back to the committee and let them know the reasons as to why we're spending the money and what it's for, and to help them understand, so everybody can get a good idea of where the money's going, so everything's transparent. So.
This motion, I think, reflects what we're trying to do in this county, the processes and accountability in place, which addresses some of the concerns that I've already heard at the podium. Madam Clerk, call the roll. The motion passed.
Okay, the final resolution C is establishing an internal rule of the Board of County Commissioners limiting the number of terms a commissioner may serve on each grouping of standing committees. Pretty straightforward, simply adding language to our current Rule 10A, which you can see the language specifically. All members of the Board of County Commissioners shall be limited to serve only 2 total years on any one standing committee grouping during each elected term on the Board of County Commissioners. Current rule, there is no limit, and as you all know, the committees are populated annually.
Motion to approve. Do I hear a motion to approve? Dr. Acuff, do you hear a second? Second. Commissioner Whitby. Any discussion on the resolution? Discussion. Commissioner Mike Hill.
Thank you, Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I was the only lone no vote on this when it came out of the Rules Committee 2 weeks ago. I don't like anything that removes choice. I think the people elect us to come in here and make educated decisions. I also think that this might limit good work in progress that doesn't necessarily come to a conclusion in a timely manner at a cutoff point when we're repopulating committees. And on the other side of this, I understand, I mean, there have been institutional members of some committee for decades, in some cases around here. I think if we took a real hard look at the makeup of this commission and we made some really intelligent choices and placed people according to their skill sets, we would realize a lot more efficiency than we do. Not everyone is cut out for the budget committee, nor is everyone cut out for some of these others, the rules and bylaws, the health and welfare, that kind of thing. But had Dr. Acuff perhaps rolled off after his statutory second year, were this in place at the time of the Health and Welfare Committee in the middle of the healthcare study, you know, we might not have saved the county $250,000 in climbing we might not have made it possible for our employees to afford family coverage and take their kids to the doctor. Good work doesn't know a timeline that matches an election cycle necessarily. So for me, I'm out. It's a no.
Mr. Collar?
I feel almost the same way as Mr. Hill. I was just thinking about the recycle center, and we were in the middle of that in September, and my committees worked very hard. If all the committee had switched over, that would have been a major problem, trying to finish that deal and get everything going. So I think that's something you need to consider, because sometimes you're in the middle of something and it's just going to mess everything up.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. Commissioner Jenkins?
I'll echo what has been said already. Being forced off without any objection, why make the change? If people they're doing good work and there's no objection in between the three that's sitting there, don't force.
Other comments? Commissioner Isaiah Grindstaff?
I guess I'll play devil's advocate this While I agree, I think 2 years is too short of a stint. I can tell you from being on building grounds, being on budget, in 2 years, you're really just kind of learning the committee and really starting to make an impression, I guess, if you will, on that. I think that we're headed in the right direction. I do think that there should be some government overrule that kind of says, hey, we each got elected. We should have our stance or swap off or something. Personally, I think I would like to see this maybe consider the 2 years 4 consecutive years. If you're on there for 4 consecutive years and you run another term and you get elected and you come on, then I think maybe you should swap out if you want to go back on, a year, 2 years to go back on. But that would give the ability to kind of exchange the town out. And, I also agree with Commissioner Keller, all 8 at one time is dangerous. I think that's kind of scary. I couldn't imagine all 8 budget committee members changing out at one time. I'd like to see that maybe go to a half, 4 goes, 4 new ones come in, 4 of your older ones stay. But I think that this is in the right realm. I just don't think that it's necessarily the completely right concept.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Campbell?
I go along with Isaiah. I agree with this 100%. We're headed in the right direction. I'd rather see 4 years because I know the experience, and I'm sure everybody sitting here will agree with the same thing. When I started on rules and bylaws and law enforcement and health and welfare. And it took 2 years to really get into the meat. And then the next 2 years you were ready to go. You were on your feet. I agree with the 4 years, 100%. Because, it'll work better, I believe, that way myself. I'm just speaking for myself.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Commissioner Brown?
I just feel like as elected officials that we're here as a group, and literally, we should agree between us on what committees we want to be on, to whatever, we are to come to an agreement, and not have our hands tied. Well, if you're doing really good on this committee and say 2 years is up and you've got to go off then in the middle of something, like Ms. Keller said, we worked hard on the landfill committee, to get a bunch of stuff done. And I know the budget committee has worked really hard, we're trying to keep the budgets going. I just think it ties you.
Commissioner Hill?
I just want to echo a lot of the sentiments here where everybody's saying, I don't really think we should put a time frame of any amount on this. I feel like if we adjust anything, we should adjust that if between the 3 grown adults here, that if anybody disagrees with what committee they're on, we let the full body decide. I think we need to put egos and self-pride aside to determine who's the best for each committee.
Okay, thank you, sir. Commissioner Hill, I wasn't overlooking you.
Oh, I already spoke. Just one follow-up comment. A real-life case point example would be the Highway Education and Landfill Committee this past time. Mr. Von Cannon was the only remaining member standing. The entire committee was purged. So there really isn't, there's the setup for no continuity. I think a staggering, like a 2 and 2 or something like that would be good, because there was no one left to carry forward other than the one remaining member this time.
Commissioner, would like to ask?
I wasn't going to bring that up, Mr. Hill, but Mr. Heller also has had considerable amount of time on the Highway Committee. However, during the 9 years that I've been here, I've been on the same committee, which evidently I have no qualification to move at anything else. But my take in it is a little different than the resolution. I think you ought to at least be on a committee 2 years, 1 year studying the issues and the scope before you apply, before you try to become chairman. Because I've seen people run around asking for votes. That's not the way this thing should operate. It should operate on qualifications and education and those sort of things. Admittedly, this is the best educated and experienced commission we've ever had in my memory. And even looking back years ago, it's the best in experience and education that I've seen. But that doesn't mean all of you are qualified to be chairman day one. My take would be simply, in the case of service, to at least require you to be on the committee for 2 years. The first year, learning the ropes, and the second year, if you wanted to go for chairmanship, then apply.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Acuff. I don't mean to speak for one of our fellow commissioners who was in the meeting, and we had a lot of discussion around this particular topic. But I think it gives us the opportunity to learn the county much better. And I appreciate Mrs. May's talk or scolding of us, if you will. I say that lovingly. But it is incumbent on each of us to know each part and each aspect of this county. And if you spend all your time on one committee and you don't have the luxury, if you will, of knowing what the problems are in other sectors of the county. And that's why I would support this resolution. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, sir. Other comments? Commissioner Holdren?
I just want to say that I began the discussion in committee that night, and I really appreciate the discussion that has taken place here tonight. I guess you could say more or less that was what I was trying to do, was start a discussion and start us thinking about this. So I appreciate everybody's open-mindedness to coming up with a solution. I'm not sure that this is the solution, but as you all have stated, we're on the right path. I did it in a very positive way. I feel like some of the media has tried to make something negative out of this. There was nothing negative that instigated it. There's nothing negative tonight. It was just something that I tried to do positively, because when I came in, I knew nothing about much of anything. And I was placed on highway education and landfill my first year, and boy did I learn a lot. I would have never known what all takes place at the landfill or the recycling center. I would never have known how many people show up at a highway committee meeting to get a stop sign. You know, I learned so much, and now after only a couple of months on my new set of committees, I've already learned an immense amount. So, you know, I am a person that loves learning. Maybe everybody doesn't like change as much as I do, but I love switching around and learning about all the different aspects of the county. And I could not gain that knowledge just by reading y'all's minutes, just by listening to your committee reports. You have to be there in person to see the public and to hear all of the discussion that takes place that the minutes don't necessarily reflect. So I will support this tonight, even if it is not perfect, because it is a step in the right direction. So thank you all for your time.
Thank you, Commissioner Baldwin. Commissioner Collins.
I'd like to say that
Yes, we have gadgets coming in 4 different directions. Took a picture of that too.
I'd like to say that if you are really concerned about what's going on in other committees, you should show up for the meetings, whether you're on the committee or not. That's all I'm saying.
Is that all you have to say, Commissioner John? Other comments? Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to say Commissioner Hill making the comments, as far as the 3 on each district, we have rules and procedures that are written that formulates that when any of the 3, if there is a disagreement of the 3 in each one of the district, now it goes by the majority. If there is still a challenge, that it's supposed to go to the main floor, so we may need to also every once in a while go back and read our own rules. And then you can also see, the points from Commissioner Holder, because like Mr. Von Cannon says, we've got an intelligent bunch here. And it would not surprise me of the educational level of the 3 and any one of the districts where they overlap each other in their specialties. So we have to be careful with that and take a look at it. But the districts will make a decision. Like I say, you as the chair in our county tournament for our rules, we are armed on how to settle a dispute like that.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Hill?
I just want to touch base on what Commissioner Johnson has said. It does say a majority, but my point being was if either one commissioner in that district disagrees, it goes to the full floor. Not 2, the third person's out, and that's the way it seems to be right now.
And that's what it is right now, and that's what we've had for several years.
Sir. Any other comments? I know I can't argue either side as the chair, I have to step down, but I am going to make one comment. I think it needs to be said that all committees within the standing committees are very important committees. And all of those committees I see are working very efficiently, intelligently, and making progress in the process. It's my 6th year, and I think that we have, as Mr. Von Cannon said, some of the best committees, the best chairs that I have seen function on this commission in 6 years. Now, with that being said, I'm probably going to change my vote too coming out of the committee, based on everything that I've heard here tonight. It's been commendable to hear all this discussion. That's what it should be. So at this time, for no other comments, Madam Clerk, call the roll. Let's have the orders.
I hit the wrong one. Can I say my vote now? How?
She pushed the wrong button.
I put the wrong one, but I haven't confirmed. Can I change it?
We have to clear the and vote again. Would you please clear and let's vote again?
Cancel the vote.
Cancel the vote.
I haven't confirmed, I just did. Kelly do.
Yeah, I did, I'm sorry.
How important is this vote?
But it actually shows you.
Speaking of that, where's the new one at? I'm sorry, excuse me, let's bring order to the.
Third time's a charm, you know.
You get it? Clear, start again. Glad to meet you this year.
Third verse, second's the first.
I just waited for everybody else. Call the vote. The motion failed. Resolution failed.
So we can do this two different ways, either we can send it back to committee or we can iron it out tonight.
I'll make a motion to send it back to the committee.
I'll second
I need a motion by Commissioner Campbell, second by Commissioner Culler, to send the resolution, which was so important, back to committee for further discussion. Is that the motion? Discussion on the motion.
But that being said, if you have concerns and you do not sit on that committee, please show up. Amen.
Please call the roll.
Who seconded
Reveal the vote. Motion passed, going back to your committee. Mr. Chairman Jenkins, going back to your committee.
Yes, sir, I'm ready for whatever.
The second was Commissioner Culler. I think this may be an appropriate time for us to take about a 10-minute break. And could I say, before you break, could I say this? Please listen. Listen just for a second. My other half had a surgical procedure today at 11 o'clock. I brought her home. I have a person watching over her so I could come and at least be a part of the process tonight. And then Madam Chair, Woodby is going to have to take over the remaining part of this meeting. So I appreciate her doing that as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The mayor, would you like to come out and give your report, the mayor report, please?
I apologize, we're just now getting the forensic copy written down today, but it's not the best world, but this is for the end of 2019 year. December, we had 6 autopsies in December, so looks like we ended up a total 56. 56 total autopsies for this year. It's down a little bit, isn't it, Doc? Yes. A little bit down. So that's for the total year. Okay, I got a couple things to go over. I usually, again, I always say I let the committee chairman, they do the talking. Got a couple things that I've been involved with. Virtual reality, I had a meeting with the people from Mississippi again the other day at Elizabeth High School, and they're very interested in taking some of the building up there, you know, and it probably won't be this school year, but maybe next school year, but they're very interested, and I think it'd be a great thing to involve the county. Involve the county also. So I met with a regional director of the Joint Economic Development, Miss Lynn Tully, and she said there's some grant money available to help us on renovation and stuff. So when we get ready. I want to invite her to our meeting when we get ready to start talking about what we need to do with the workforce development. Had to replace a motor for the boiler. The blower motor went out again, so I was here yesterday and it was pretty warm up in the day, so but last night it was about 56 degrees, and so we got a new motor put in today for a blower, the blower motor. So it's back in order, feels pretty good in here. Also had a meeting with Northeast State, and it went very well. So what I hope to do, they want to meet again on the 31st of January, but I want to ask them to come to our next building and grounds meeting. And that was well represented. They tag team and they sent 3, so, but I want to invite them to the next building and grounds meeting. And but they're very interested. I think they're very interested in staying here. They're very interested. And I think we're very interested in keeping them, so that'll be interesting. So. The Blue Montana, our resort is still, we're meeting with, regular meetings with TDEC, getting things in order. He's, if you go to his website, he's asking for employment, about 75 to 100 jobs, from just laborers to machine operators. So he's got all the qualifications that he's asking, to be listed. He's got all that listed, very, very detailed. So that's a good start, getting ready for the early spring. I've also been in touch with AT&T, and TCAT, telling them, their people about the job openings. Okay, that's basically about all I got. Anybody got any questions for me? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, we'll go ahead and go into the committee reports. I think Commissioner Hill is going to do budget.
Okay, in the packets, budget minutes from last week. If you have any questions, we'll answer those. If not, we'll jump right into the meeting. In the form of a motion to approve the transfer of $15,790.61 from the general fund unassigned fund balance to fund the bonuses paid from the solid waste sanitation fund and the highway public works fund.
Second by Commissioner James. Commissioner Frazier. Motion on the floor, second by. Any discussion?
I'm sorry, is it funding a raise for the highway department?
Moving.
Oh, okay. Yeah, as long as it's not increasing your pay.
Any more questions? Commissioner Brown?
I thought the funds was coming from like general fund instead of those two. That was my question.
We're voting on taking from general fund unassigned fund balance.
Okay.
We're putting them back into those accounts.
Yeah.
Okay, good deal.
Any further discussion, questions? Madam Clerk, you want to roll?
We gotta take the radio off.
I think you have to mark him absent before the vote starts. Clear the vote and mark him absent.
Motion passes.
Next I'll put in the form of a motion is a motion to approve the appropriation of up to $32,000 from the general fund unassigned fund balance to purchase a vehicle for the county coroner.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Campbell. Blevins, what? Commissioner Blevins. Any discussion, questions? Madam Clerk, call the roll. Motion passes.
Next item I'd like to put in the form of a motion is a motion to approve General Fund 101, Amendment 6, 3 items for a total of $5,027.95 with nothing coming from fund balance.
Second, Commissioner Campbell. Any discussion, questions? Call the roll. Motion passes.
Next item I'd like to put in the form of a motion is a motion to approve Solid Waste Sanitation Fund 116, Amendment Number 5, 2 items for a total of $150,470.42 with $37,843 coming from the fund's unassigned fund balance.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Kohler. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll. Motion passes.
The next item I'd like to put in the form of a motion is a motion to approve Highway Public Works Fund 131, Amendment Number 6, 1 item for a total of $218,749.09 with nothing coming from fund balance.
Second by Commissioner Campbell. He's saying it before you. You can't tell. Any discussion? Motion passes.
Next item I'd like to put in the form of a motion is a motion to approve General Purpose School Fund 141, Amendment 5, 4 items for a total of $52,541.64 with 2 items and $46,001.15 coming from the General Purpose School Fund unassigned fund balance.
Second, Commissioner Campbell. Any discussion? Motion passes.
The next item I'll put in the form of a motion is a motion to approve General Purpose School Fund 141, Amendment 6, 10 items for a total of $94,010.14 with 2 items and $12,805.87 coming from the General Purpose School Fund unassigned fund balance.
Second for Commissioner Profit. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll. Motion passes.
The next item I'd like to put in the form of a motion is a motion to approve the monetary donations made to the animal shelter, $2,576, and the drug control fund, $107.53.
Second, Commissioner Frazier. Any discussion? Motion passes.
The final item I'd like to put in form of a motion is a motion to approve the non-monetary donations made to the animal shelter in the amount of $764.40.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Brown. Any discussion? Motion passes.
That's all I have for budget.
You want to go ahead and nominate? We'll go ahead and take up nominating.
Nominating committee, we had a couple vacancies on the agriculture committee. The first one will be for a farm woman vacancy. We had one application. I'd like to put in form of a motion, we accept Tracy Buckles for farm woman.
Second from Commissioner Frazier. Any discussion? Motion passes.
We also had two positions open from the commission. We had one application turned in to Dr. Acuff. We took one nomination from the floor. The two appointees will be Dr. Robert Acuff and Mr. Mark Tester. Put that form of a motion.
Second from Commissioner James. Any discussion? Motion passes. Thank you. Building and grounds, Commissioner James.
First thing up, Mr. Perry, get some more business straightened out. I'd like to put in form the motion that we have the county highway department move forward with paving the workforce development complex.
Second, Commissioner Hill, in the back. Travis Hill. Motion passes.
Thank you, Commissioner Fletcher, for everything else.
Thank you, Commissioner James.
Oh, yeah, we will. We've been having meetings at the workforce development complex.
Education Committee, Commissioner Ward.
We'll just allow our minutes for budget meetings.
Financial Management, Commissioner Johnson.
Set Steve. I'm the sheriff on West Mountain. In your packet, you all have had time over the weekend to review, but the Financial Management Committee has been, since October, been passed by a motion from this floor and signed by this floor to advertise and to receive proposals for a wage and compensation examination for the county, minus the school system. They have already had one. The financial manager of the county received 5 separate proposals ranging from the price range of $26,000 up to a maximum, up to an amount of $46,000. I'd say that the scope of the work of what we were asking for to be required for them to submit the proposals was met by all 5, even though there was different bid or quotes on them. Out of the 5, I would say that the Vice Chair, Commissioner Holden, took the scope, developed a rubric of metrics to where it had 13 subtitles in, which all of the proposals that were received were reviewed, and they were scored by all the members of the financial management. The top 2 scores out of the evaluation were the ones that were agreed on to ask to come in for a in-person interview for further examination, which in January, the 2 that was the top score getters was Evergreen, of which you have their proposal in your package, and the other was a Condrey and Associates. Condrey and Associates came in at $44,500. Evergreen came in at $26,000 even. From their presentation, these 2 were scored, and by motion from the committee with a unanimous vote, we recommend to the floor, if you desire to go for a wage and compensation study, we recommend that Evergreen be acceptable by you all.
Second. Sorry, Commissioner Jenkins, sorry. Any discussion, questions?
Can I?
Yes, Commissioner.
I'd just like to ask, what do you hope the overall goal will be by hiring this particular company? What is the end result?
Okay, for nature, I want to also state that any of the members of the finance manual, if I overlook a piece where I'm trying to explain this, please pitch in. One of the things is we're wanting, I'm sure the scope was written where we can do a comparison for our employees of the county, not including the school board or school system, with one local agencies or local counties around us, regional counties around us, and also of counties of the state of similar close populace as we are, in examination as to like one-on-one. If it's a secretary, they see what the secretary is and what their duties. They come in and examine these positions to make sure that they're classified properly when they go in and do comparisons. This firm, after this is completed, will come back with a full commission on the completion of this and also give a closing on it and giving you the information that was found during the surveys and the examinations, giving you 3 areas, a low, a median, and a high for each one of these positions. And it also will identify where we stand. Now, I heard comments while we were doing this as well, Lord, if you do that and you don't take action, you know, it's going to hurt them around. If you opt to go with this, there's nothing going to be done for the first couple, 2 or 3 months. It is a time that where we have to examine and come up with solutions, because I'm sure we're going to find some that are going to be below the average or the median of what everybody else is paying for the, the classification. And we're going to find some that may be totally out of line to the high side. This firm will also write with us and make recommendations on how we can elevate the low up to the median, the high down to the median, to where it will give you guidelines of where you can make the decisions. They're not going to make it for us, and then they can support us with their information that they give to you. The school system, of course, they had theirs done. If you remember, some of you were here in office a little bit over 2 years ago. And they found quite a bit of disparities. There was a lot of range difference. And they have over about the first 9 months, they didn't do anything except review those documents and see how they were going to bring the low up and meet with the high. And to see what in the management tools that this study offered to where they could go in and help the employee out. They have put in force, they have worked for the past 2 years now in increments, and like in the cafeteria service, I don't know particularly all of their subsections in the school board, But in the school, teachers, again, their salaries, I know in the financial management, we came in and said, okay, there's nobody who will be a full-time employee here, cannot be hired for less than $10 an hour, period, point blank, which is a big issue in our neighboring counties because they have an abundance. I can safely say from looking at our payroll from the financial director, we have no full-time employee in the general 101 budgetary or the road department that is below that amount. We had one at the time, but when we came in with the pay raises through the commission, that took that one out of play, brought it up. Now, the school board was just a little bit different. They had a handful, and they have, since that time, the board has taken the issue, and they have examined it, and they've come up with a cure, and they have given raises and brought up to the $10 area, because there was a lot of problems in there, because here you have a person that's in there as a, we'll say, as a custodial service in the school, been there 20 years, and then they have a vacancy, and then they hire. The person they hire makes identically the same thing, if not more than what the person is there for 20 years. And there's a lot of unfairness about the thing. So this study is one thing that will help and give you a tool where you can use it and make your decisions and your recommendations for the county. Any questions? Nothing. Commissioner Grimes.
Commissioner Grimes.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Has any thoughts been given to how, once we obtain these documents, which I think the timeline stated sometime in March, so we're talking next fiscal year, has any conversations been furthered about how we would take this and apply this to the office holder structure that we have? Because we reference the schools, and the schools have been very successful. They've come to us several times, they've asked for money to help bump everybody up, and we've attempted on several occasions. And so, but on the office holder standpoint of, you get into this situation of, I can't necessarily tell that office holder that they're going to pay this, this secretary or this other person or this person between these three wages. I kind of have to rely on them. So what do we do after we get this information? How is financial management kind of look at that portion?
Well, the financial management really, of course, I have to give that much more thought in detail how, as a committee itself is going to take it. It's going to be the commission and the budget committee more than any. There is certain rights that the office holder, being an elected official, has that we do not have the authority to override or to instruct or order in any form or fashion. And we have to keep that in mind. Now, as it stands right now, and it's my understanding, and correct me, Mr. Attorney, if I'm wrong, that the office holder, as long as he stays within his vacancy, and he has vacancies, if he wants to pay one more than the other right now, the way it stands, we have no say-so. Now, we do as far as bottom line item, but we can't go in individually on the line set and make determinations in the budget. We don't have that authority. But this will give you a tool where it paints a picture. And it could, it could smack some in the face and say, well, that's kind of strange. I know there's one office that may have 5 deputies, not law, but deputies as deputy clerks that shares basically about the same responsibility, and there may be a difference between the top and the bottom. But when it comes budget time, it's up to the budget committee to look at them and say, okay, explain that. Why is it? It's just like we're looking at things such as bonuses or anything related in terminology of a bonus for the year. And we're also looking at the same time as to retirement investments in the 401 and the 457 category to match employees' contributions up to a certain amount. And we're finding out in our committees, word is not getting to our employees. The people that sit around the financial management table, being half of them are office holders, and then the other office holders that are not present, that has the knowledge, I'm not going to say that do it deliberately, but there is not a communication system in this county for this commission or for us to be able to keep them informed on the benefits that each of our employees should be getting and what they should look at it always comes to deaf ear. Right now, we have, I think, 34 people who make contributions into accounts for matching funds in the county. Now, 34 out of, not counting the school boards, 260 employees. And then we go ask the employees, and you get that deer in the headlights in the front of the hood look, don't have a clue, and they're missing out and not have knowledge as to setting up a base for their retirement as they get older. So, and there's going to be several options. It's not a done deal yet as far as those are concerned. And we'll take any of the ideas that you have, and we're going to have to come up with policies on it where we are able to let our employees know what is there for them.
Any more questions for Commissioner Johnson?
I wanted to note that the school system did not include the teacher's salary.
No, that has to deal with, I think, the state.
Mr. Ward back there, help the board back there.
No, the board's
No, he's not.
But now,
Mr. Ward on the school board, they will consider doing that.
I don't know, you may not be prepared for that.
Well, federal.
Yeah, the state supplies their funds and.
Well, this county supplies some of it also.
Very small.
Yeah, that would be my.
Commissioner Jenkins?
Commissioner Johnson, I just wanted to thank you and the committee for all of your hard work on this. Thank you.
Well, the committee, they're hard working. I'm glad you done the other things that we've put some long hours and extra days in to fulfill our obligation to be able to get you as much knowledge and of our systems and what we're striving for to where you can make a decisive decision that is worthy for our county and for our taxpayers and our employees, because they're the ones that provides the services.
Any further discussion?
You're also saying he's going to each department and work this in.
You will be, every department head will be interviewed and be spoken with. They will be the majority of the employees that will be coming in contact, be asked to actually fill out answer a questionnaire, which will also come in and give more information to them and helping them to determine the classifications. And then if there's any problems that exist in it, then the contractor will be coming to our financial director's office for us to go in and make decisions on how to further resolve the problems when it comes to some employee classifications. So, we have, at one time I counted 178 different, I want to say, positions that has basically pretty close to the same duties. They may be ones and twos that are not the same, but they can be grouped into one when you start doing their interviews and you start looking at your questionnaire when it comes to classifying them. Yeah, because the circuit court clerk, as an example, in Washington County may be quite a bit different. They shouldn't, because they're under the same laws of what our county is. So there's going to be a great deal of similarities, such as the register of deeds, tax assessors, trustee's office, your court system, and all their clerks. So it's, and just size, we're considered small, to these firms, as far as that. So they say it's about 3.5 months until the final, and that's the one thing that we stressed when we were on the personal interviews with them, was at the end, they were to told him to bring you the information to where you can read it, explain it, and if you have questions, to help us to understand the whole gist of the wage compensation study and how you can use it, to give you the tools for you better.
Further questions? Commissioner Johnson? No? Seeing none? Motion passes. Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. Health and welfare?
Thank you, Chairwoman. I want to want to thank the commission for passing the EMS resolution. That's a cost to the state of Tennessee, probably about $16 million a year. And TennCare underfunds transportation costs, so it will be a good impact on Carter County to be able to make up those transportation costs. Hopefully, Attorney Harden will make it to the governor's office, because I think his budget comes out in February, and I think the Tennessee Ambulance Association would like to see it included in his budget, so that when it goes to the floor and is voted on, the governor has it as part of his budget. So thank you all for doing that. I think our EMS guys and gals will be very thankful for what we did tonight. So we'll let the minutes reflect the rest of the health and welfare.
Thank you, Dr. Echo. Highway Committee, Commissioner Blake. Okay. Landfill, Commissioner Kohler.
Pretty much what's in the minutes, except I would like to thank everybody that came out last week for the open house, and I hope you're pleased with what we've done. Any commissioner that didn't get to come, to contact me or just go by, I'm glad to show you around. One disappointing thing that happened this week, I'll go ahead and mention, most of you have heard us talk about the blue building that was down at the medical center area. Well, there must have been some kind of communication because I was informed that they would be donating that to the county, but only by Friday and it's on the ground, so it won't be donated to the county. I don't know what that was all about, but that was a disappointing area for Beanie and myself that we won't be able to get that. But we'll move on and do the best we can do. February the 1st, we should be fully up and running with everything. Sometimes I feel like the landfill takes one step forward, 2 steps back. During the process of getting everything going, the fire down in Limestone a couple weeks ago, that's the paper company that we sell to. So that's going to push back on the paper and the mixed paper. But hopefully that will be up and running by the time we are. So February 1st, we should be fully functional. So thank you for all your hard work with your commission on getting that set up and purchasing the property. We appreciate it.
Commissioner Hill.
Chairman Kohler, when are, City National, when are they going to start taking public recyclables?
We'll be setting that up, he'll be opening that up by February 1st, but we will not be letting the public go to the new center.
Okay.
There'll be bins put down at the old place, but we're going to keep that as a processing center only, not public.
Thank you.
But it should be all open by February 1st.
Thank you, Commissioner Kohler, to your committee. The recycling center is very nice. It's something to be really proud of in our county. Law enforcement, Commissioner Hill.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Excuse me. If you'll look in the packets, there is an epistle in there of proposed animal control ordinances and additions to the books that were brought by the animal shelter board, Ms. Posada. And the committee has agreed to take that on as a study project. We also have come into possession of some similar work that was done by the county attorney before this commission took place. So that'll be going on at the workforce development concurrent with buildings and grounds. Thank you.
Thank you. Rules and bylaws, Commissioner Jenkins.
I just have one item. So the Rules and Bylaws Committee voted to bring to the floor a motion to pay the Budget Committee for all of their meetings, $50 a meeting. I'd like to put that in the form of a motion.
Second.
Second from Commissioner Mockill. Any discussion? Madam Clerk? Motion passes.
That's all for Rules and Bylaws.
Thank you, Commissioner Jenkins. There wasn't anything for agriculture, Commissioner Garland?
No, I think your nominee will cover that just on the new appointments. Next week will be in February, I know that, probably the second week on a Tuesday, I'm pretty sure. And sorry for being late, I had something I had to be at, and thought I'd see where we stood. So,
Your colleague, Commissioner Hill,
yeah,
did a wonderful job.
I appreciate that. Get over here. Sorry, I guess.
Anything with animal shelter? Animal shelter?
No, I think everything's pretty well, going all right down there, thank you.
Beer board, we do. Commissioner Hill?
We have discovered that we cannot put expiration dates on the beer permits. So whenever we do reconvene, we'll need to back that up. But the special call meeting on the 18th of February to consider revocation of unpaid beer licenses, I'm told won't need to happen because all the stragglers have come in save for one, and they're very well aware of their deadline.
Sounds good. Parks and Rec, Commissioner Jenkins, anything?
We meet this night.
Any other boards that I've missed that anybody needs to report on? Planning Commission?
We meet next Tuesday at 3 o'clock.
I think that does it on committee reports. Okay, we're going to go ahead and adjourn for an attorney-client meeting session with the commission. Yes, sir.
I should have brought it up here in budget, I just didn't. I received some information, so attorney, you'll have to check into it, but our county clerks that do 2 courts, not being compensated, 2 courts, and that brought to my attention. I thought that might be Mr. Gardner. I checked in on that. If you do 2 courts, they're paid for 1, and so if you get paid for 2, that was brought to my attention. I thought Mr. Gardner might check it. Leave out. That's brought to my attention.
Okay, thank you. We'll go ahead and adjourn for the client attorney session. If the audience would please vacate the courtroom. We'll go ahead and call the meeting back in session. The next item on the agenda is the county attorney report.
You got a motion on the floor for this meeting. I'd like to motion we adjourn. Second.
We haven't done.
We haven't.
Commissioner comments.
Commissioner comments. Slow down, guys, slow down.
It could be a record.
I hate that.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and go to commissioner comments, and then we'll back up to the county attorney report. Commissioner Travis Hill.
Okay. I pray about a lot of things, about the decisions I make on this commission. I try to do what my constituents elected me to. I hope that my colleagues will respect me for the decisions I make. I do what any good commissioner does. I do what my constituents want. There's been a lot of issues with something to do with the bonus, with the planning commission. There's been a lot of things weren't clear as far as like the project manager. We voted for it. We owed the man money. We never specified whether it was added duties or a new job. So I want to take some heat over this from my constituents, but I'm going to make a motion to no longer pursue any further action on the $14,000 and to forgive the $14,466.67.
Motion on the floor, second by Commissioner Brockett. Any discussion?
Madam Chairwoman, this is directed to the financial director. Mr. Burke, is there anything particular we have to do on the floor to cover the motion? Did you hear the motion?
Yeah.
Okay, does that satisfy the record keeping on the disposition for the comptroller's office? Okay, that's all.
Commissioner Hill, could you restate your motion for the county attorney?
I wish to seek no further legal matters and to forgive the $14,466.67.
It would, since we're rescinding something previously adopted.
Since it's rescission, does that require 2/3 votes?
That's what I'm saying.
Yes, it requires 2/3 vote. Commissioner Hill.
I just want to add, this is really divided this commission. We all work with the taxpayer. It's our fiscal responsibility to spend money wisely, and I feel like this is the best option for the county taxpayer.
Any further discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
It's banging on the door, Charles. There it goes.
Motion passes. Moving on to the county attorney report.
All right, just generally for a general litigation update, there was some new litigation filed this month. Sims v. Carter County in Circuit Court. It involves an auto crash with a former deputy. It was a year ago, basically, that this occurred, and the complaint's been filed now. My understanding, it's been turned over to insurance carrier. My understanding is there's some ongoing discussion there to potentially settle that case with medical bills and things. But anyway, that's just now getting started. The other thing would be the delinquent tax suit. 2017 delinquent tax sale is scheduled for March 13th. In your all's packets, there was an updated list to date of the parcels that remain in the sale. As of today, I believe there's 158. These parcels, to my knowledge, in my title searches and things, I found no environmental issues or any concerns of that nature. So what we do the month prior to the sale, or at least a month prior to the sale, is present these to the commission and ask for authority to bid on behalf of the county for any parcels that do not receive the minimum bid in the tax sale. Over the last 3 or so, every parcel has sold, but we just like to get this permission. So, as I said, no concerns that I'm aware of with any of them. So we just need a vote that we would have permission to bid on behalf of the county in the tax sale.
Motion by Commissioner James, second by Commissioner Frazier. Motion passes.
And other than that, my written report will be in the minutes unless y'all have any specific questions.
Commissioner James.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. Four.
Second by Commissioner
Grindstaff.
Thank you, everyone.